Hello to everyone. My name is NC Lightworker, and I am basically a light worker by trade. A light worker is someone who has received a calling from the Most High God and has been entrusted with the duty to light the pathway for God's people. I do not have any religious affiliation, nor am I affiliated with any group or organization. Also, I do not respond to any questions, comments, or emails because as a light worker, I am only here to present the information. This video is a continuation of the Inside the Matrix series and will mention concepts that were previously covered. Thank you for tuning in, and let's get started. If you were to see someone on the side of the road holding a sign like this, you would automatically assume that this person is quote unquote crazy. In actuality, I am not very different from this person because this is the same message that I'm delivering to you in this video. The only difference is that I was able to use YouTube as a platform to provide you with the background information, whereas the person with the sign is basically getting straight to the point. This is not a topic that I enjoy discussing. However, I would not be doing my job as a light worker if I did not bring this to the forefront. The world itself is not coming to an end. This world was created by the Most High God, therefore it can never be destroyed. However, the world as we know it, or reality as we know it, is indeed coming to an end. History repeats itself. We have seen this time and time again, the rise and subsequent fall of the powers that be. We are in no way exempt from this. We have crossed over into the age of Aquarius. This is an amazing and critical time to be alive because we're going to continue to witness a series of events as it relates to this transition. The systems established by the ruling power in the previous age, the age of Pisces, cannot and will not transfer over into the age of Aquarius. These systems, such as government, banking, education, healthcare, are currently in the process of being phased out. This will result in a complete global collapse. This will result in everyone being automatically unplugged from the matrix. The majority of the Earth's population will not be prepared. The collapse is a natural progression due to the age of Aquarius. In America, the extreme changes that we will experience are going to be blamed on Donald Trump's fake presidency. The enemy wants people to remain sleepwalking and dependent on the system until the very end. The purpose of this video is to inform and empower you. One of the most common phrases found in the Bible is, "Fear not." This is truth. Once you know what to prepare for and how to prepare, you have absolutely nothing to fear. What is the origin of the Bible? It is interesting to note that you cannot find the word Bible in the Bible. The Bible is referred to as the little book. The reason why is that the Bible originated from a bigger book that was written by Thoth, the Egyptian god of knowledge and astrology. What is the Bible? The Bible represents many things. It is a mixture of truth and untruth. The Bible is a science book that is rooted in astrology. Since the Bible is missing several books, it is a partial historical account of events related to the previous age, the age of Pisces. There are absolutely no prophecies in the Bible because everything related to the age of Pisces has already happened. The age of Pisces was the New Jerusalem. The age of Aquarius will usher in the new Egypt. History repeats itself. The following events occur every time we transition into a new age: the liberation of a group of people, the gradual decline and subsequent collapse of the ruling power, the migration of people into Europe from Africa and the Middle East, violence and death on a large scale. In the Religion is an Inside Joke video series, I mentioned the concept of mirroring. A mirror presents an image in reverse. In order to compare the past, the age of Pisces, to the present, the age of Aquarius, you have to reverse the past. Now this concept is kind of hard to explain, so hopefully the following examples will provide clarity. You will see how the events mirror each other. However, there will be slight variations depending on who is in power, good or evil. Number 1. The liberation of a group of people. Because an age can last anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 years, in my opinion, I believe that this event marks the official beginning of a new age and the beginning of the gradual decline of the ruling power. Age of Pisces. The Jews being freed from Egypt, which was led by Moses. This occurred before the complete collapse of Egypt. The Age of Aquarius. The end of slavery in America. This occurred before the complete collapse of America. Harriet Tubman's nickname was Moses. The difference between the age of Pisces is the initial lack of movement. However, this movement recently occurred. Number 2. The gradual decline and subsequent collapse of the ruling power. Age of Pisces, Egypt. Age of Aquarius, the European Union and the G8. Number 3. The migration of people into Europe from Africa and the Middle East. Age of Pisces, the liberation of the Jews, and the period in history called the barbarian invasion that followed. Age of Aquarius. The Syrian civil war started in 2011. People from Syria, as well as other parts of Africa, have migrated into Europe to rightfully reclaim the land. This migration or movement is still in progress. Number 4. Violence and death on a large scale. Age of Pisces. After the fall of Egypt, there were a series of wars for world domination. There was also significant death due to famine during this period. Age of Aquarius, as with Syria, there will be no wars between nations. This will be in the form of civil unrest due to the collapse of the system. Truth is always within plain sight. This impending global collapse is constantly being symbolically communicated to the general public through mainstream media. It is being referred to as Armageddon, Doomsday, the Apocalypse, and when SHTF, which stands for when shit hits the fan. We live in a world of real and imaginary. Therefore, what is being presented in the media will have elements of real and imaginary. What is real would be a common theme that you're able to identify. Think about it. How many recent TV shows or movies can you name that are related to the theme of the apocalypse, survival of the fittest, or world depopulation? Is it a coincidence that when America is depicted in the future, the country always looks dismal? It always looks like a shell of what it used to be. Is it a coincidence that the phrase "a grand omen" can be found in the word Armageddon when you use the letter N twice? Is it a coincidence that the phrase "a collapse" can be found in the word apocalypse when you use the letter L twice? I was having the same conversation with a young man earlier this year, and he mentioned the movie 2012. Now, I haven't watched TV in over 6 years, so of course I was not familiar with the movie. He explained the movie's plot, which basically involved a flood that took over the world. Okay, so a global flood. Well, this sounds pretty familiar. This is a symbolic reference to the age of Aquarius because the water bearer, as seen here, is the symbol for Aquarius. The young man then mentioned that every continent was submerged by the flood except for Africa. Then I got to thinking, so Africa is the only one left standing. Well, in the age of Aquarius, God's people, who are the descendants of Africa/Egypt, will have the power and control on earth. So maybe this is a reference to that. I later watched a movie clip where the main character was rushing to get home to save his family. He frantically called his wife, urging her to get the kids together and be ready by the time that he arrived. She said, "Well, the governor was just on TV and he was telling us not to panic and that there was no real emergency." Then the main character said, "The man is an actor. He is reading from a script." I knew automatically that this was a direct reference to Donald Trump. Water represents a cleansing. The Bible is steeped in symbolism. In the story of Noah's Ark, essentially, you have a man who received a grand omen from God, did what he needed to do to prepare for it, and survived it. There is no coincidence that this story is in the beginning of the Bible because it is a symbolic depiction of the beginning of a new age. The year 2023 is my guesstimation as to when the global collapse will occur. Trust me, this is something that I want to be wrong about, but I much rather trust my instinct than to not say or do anything. Truth comes from making connections. If you are not familiar with the Georgia Guidestones, please do further research. We live in a world of real and imaginary, so please disregard the spooky Illuminati reference and focus on the information on the Guidestones. The Georgia Guidestones includes 10 guidelines or principles that supposedly pertain to the age of Aquarius. The first guideline is to maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. In certain circles, it is projected that the survival rate post the collapse will be around 15%. The Georgia Guidestones were erected in 1980, and the world's population at that time was approximately 4.5 billion. The world's population is currently approximately 7.5 billion. 500 million of 7.5 billion is 15%. Also, the Georgia Guidestones has a time capsule that is not set to be opened until the year 2023. The Purge movies are set in the year 2023. Purge, the removal of members regarded as being undesirable. The word purge derives from the Latin word purgare, which means to purify. This brings to mind the story of Noah's Ark. Skull and Crossbones is a secret society founded at Yale University. Their group is represented by the number 322. Using the concept of mirroring, you can see a reference to the year 2023. Yale was founded in 1701. Add 322 and you get 2023. There were two symbolic blackouts in India, which involved millions of people being without electricity for days. The first occurred in 2001, the same year as 9/11. 11 years later, the second one occurred in 2012. Add 11 years to 2012 and you get 2023. We live in a world of real and imaginary. The enemy is functioning on illusions only, and these illusions are being acted out on the world stage. Let's look up the word blackout. Blackout, the end of a play or skit. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. We look to the heavens for guidance and are sustained by the earth. Everything you need to be able to survive can be sourced directly from the earth. All answers are inside you. The best way to prepare is to ask yourself this question. If you knew that less than 6 years from now, the government is going to make the following announcement. As of today, food will no longer be available in grocery stores or farmers markets. Water and electricity will no longer be provided. What would you do now to prepare? Remember, all answers are inside you. Once you have the answers, the next step is action. Rule of 3. You can go 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. Since the earth sustains us, land ownership is key to survival. Self-reliance is the act of taking full responsibility for your existence and survival. Like Noah, you are your own savior. There are several publications that are dedicated to a self-reliant lifestyle. Some of them are now offering their entire catalog. No coincidence, of course. In the meantime, it is also very helpful to link up with like-minded people. After the collapse, all currency will be obsolete. We're going to be in survival mode, and the new economy will be based in bartering. It will be beneficial to learn a trade or to be able to parlay your current occupation into an old-timey trade. For example, if you are currently a nurse, it will be beneficial for you to obtain the skills to be a midwife. Now, I want to say when times are at their worst, people tend to get it on the most. Therefore, babies are still going to need to be born. Now, eventually, your vehicle is going to run out of gas, so you definitely want to consider an alternate mode for transportation. Our ancestors used technology as a tool to lighten their workload. They did not live their life through technology. Now, I'm definitely going to possess the essential devices for communication, like a computer, modem, two-way radio, etc. However, I'm going into this with the assumption that technology as we know it will not be functional in my lifetime. History has taught me that the process of building a new civilization is very gradual in nature. Our efforts will be the foundation for the beautiful existence that our children and future generations will build upon. This is my final video as NC Lightworker. I love you all and see you on the other side. The beautiful thing about consciousness is that it will never force itself on you. You always have the option of going back to sleep at any time. The choice is yours. If the information in this post was able to wake up a handful of people, then my mission was accomplished. It is now your responsibility to stay awake, prepare, and continue connecting those dots. Please feel free to share this post. God bless and take care.